Well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I am Watsu-K99, and this is the Sunday Sports Sermon. Yes, we're getting to the end of July, so baseball is in full swing. Nothing much happening with basketball and hockey right now outside of rumors and free agency. We will talk a little NBA today. And NFL is getting ready to start up in the very not too distant future. So let's talk about a couple of topics. The first thing I want to talk about today is the Baseball Hall of Fame induction, and long overdue. It is great to see Gil Hodges finally, after all these years, be inducted into Cooperstown. His widow Joan will not be in attendance. She is still with us, thankfully, at 95 years old, but she will not be making the trip from her home in New York City. However, their three kids will be going there to make the speech, and a bunch of Gil's old players will be there. I know Art Shamsky is there, Cleon Jones, Ed Kranepool, Ron Swoboda, one or two other guys are going to be up there as well. So after all these years, it's pretty great to see Gil Hodges make the Hall of Fame. You know what's interesting? The Mets got Gil Hodges in a trade as a manager. He was managing the Washington Senators, now the Texas Rangers. They got him on October 11th, 1967, and the trade was $100,000, which nowadays would be the equivalent of about $880,000. Yeah, I'll take that. And they were entitled to one player, the Senators were. Now, the player the Senators mentioned first they wanted was a young pitcher by the name of George Thomas Seaver. Thankfully, the Mets balked at that idea. Bing Devine and Johnny Murphy, who were the Jets' general managers at the time, said, "No way, Jose." And they gave him a choice of three different players, one of whom was actually Tug McGraw. The Senators chose to go with Bill Dennehy. I'll just give everybody a moment so you can Wikipedia him. Actually, Dennehy went 1-10 in his big league career. His career completely beriddled by injuries. 2 years later, the Mets were the World Series champions. I'd say that you could talk about all the trades the Mets have made. You know, the Keith Hernandez, the Mike Piazza trade, Don Clendenin, Ed Hearn for David Cohn. They've made some very good trades in their history. I don't know if you could say they had a better trade than that one, than getting Gil Hodges as their manager for $100,000 and a pitcher who won one big league game in his career. So kudos to Gil Hodges. Now, I want to talk a little bit here today about Donavan Mitchell. I wanted to spend a little bit of time on basketball. There's a lot of rumors that the Knicks are going to acquire Donavan Mitchell. His father worked at Chase Stadium forever. Mitchell's a big Knicks fan. Utah is clearly in rebuilding mode. They've traded Rudy Gobert to Minnesota. The Knicks know they need to make a special impact after a very disappointing 37-win season last year. They didn't even make the play-in game after being the 4th seed the year before. Now, they got Jalen Brunson to play point guard. Very good signing, in my opinion. But what about Mitchell? Mitchell is very well known as one of the better players in the NBA. But is this the player you want to give up your primary assets for? The Knicks have over a dozen draft picks in the next 7 years, between picks they've acquired and picks they've acquired for other teams. They got a lot of them in the Kristaps Porzingis trade. They got him this past year in the draft. So is he worth it? Let's look at Donovan Mitchell a little bit and break this down. So he is one of 12 NBA players to average 25 points and 5 assists in the last 2 years. He could score from anywhere, up close, mid-range jumper, 3 points. He's shooting 36% from three-point range. Very explosive first step. He could create his own shot, which I really, really like. I've never been big on scorers who need to catch the ball and shoot from open range. You know, if you could generate your own shot, I think that makes you a pretty good asset to have. He's under contract through 2026, so you got another 3 years to go. He's only 25 years old. He's entering his prime. And so the Knicks would be in amazing shape to get him. Now, the knocks on him: doesn't play the best defense in the world, so you wonder how that's going to jive with Coach Thibodeau, because we know Coach Thibodeau is all about defense first. And he can be a little methodical, a little mechanical. I'm not so much worried about that, but the defense is a concern of mine. Miami might be in the mix. That's about the only other team, but really no other team. And, of course, you hear a little bit of Brooklyn Nets rumors. Okay, sure. But to me, I can't really imagine that there's another team that wants to get Mitchell as bad as the Knicks do and are in position to give as much as the Knicks are willing to give. Now, would they give up? It's really all about what players Utah wants from me. I'm very hesitant to give up an Obi Toppin or a Quentin Grimes. Grimes is a very good defensive guard, and I think he would rotate well with Mitchell and with Brunson. To me, if you have Brunson and Mitchell, you have to keep Grimes. I would actually want Grimes on the team at this point more than I would want Emmanuel Quigley. As good of a player as Quigley could be, I think the Knicks need to make sure that they're defending the perimeter well. Grimes can help do that. So if it takes Quigley, and then you have to give up some salary to make it work, you could give up Evan Fournier, you could give up Derrick Rose just to help make the money work, maybe a Miles McBride or a Cam Reddish so you have some young talent there. And it might take 4, 5, 6 first-round picks. If that's what it takes, I would be open to it. But you can't gut the young core for Donovan Mitchell. I'm sorry. He's not Giannis. He's not that type of player, in my opinion. He's maybe in the 10 to 20 range in terms of NBA players, but I'm not giving up everything to go get him. So that's my thoughts on Donovan Mitchell. I do believe the Knicks will make the trade over the coming weeks. I think you kind of have a staring contest going on right now between the Knicks and the Jazz, and it's a matter of who's going to, butt first. So that's my thoughts on that. As far as the Jets go, hey, it's an exciting week. Training camp's opening. So the rookies are going to report on Tuesday. Camp actually starts Tuesday. The first practice is Wednesday. And I do want to give a quick plug. I did an article late Saturday night. My thoughts on the black helmets. I included pictures, a breakdown of the helmet from multiple angles. And I'm going to put the link for that in the description here. And again, if you want to read my articles, you can find them at NY Sports WickerMedia, just like the name of this channel, nysportswickermedia.blogspot.com. Okay. One other quick thought, and this is more on a personal note. I am very happy to see Claudio Castagnoli win the Ring of Honor World Championship. I'm a big Ring of Honor fan. I always have been. It's not the same product to me now that it's owned by Tony Khan. If they had their own TV show, again, something like that, I think that I could have a little bit different feel for it, but I can't get into it as much right now when on the TV show you have AEW on the microphone, AEW on the barricade, AEW on the screen. I just can't do that. It needs to feel like its own separate entity for me to really take it seriously again. But I've been watching Claudio since the very first Ring of Honor show that I attended, which was Vendetta, November 9th, 2005 in Chicago Ridge, Illinois. I remember the match that actually made me a Ring of Honor diehard fan was two guys who I'd never heard of, and they wrestled for the world title, and they went about 50 minutes on that match. The guys' names were Roderick Strong, Bryan Danielson. And even 17 years later, they're both still doing it, and they're still among the best out there. But I didn't know who Claudio was. He was just the guy at the time from Switzerland who kept going to the ring and going, "Hey!" And the crowd right back at him would go, "Hey!" So if you only know him as Cesaro in WWE or something like that, then you may not know the "hey" thing. But that was like our big thing we would do with him at the time. And he had long hair back then, believe it or not, but you could see he was balding up top. So didn't really know what he would become, but I always felt in the last couple of years he was one of the best Ring of Honor wrestlers ever to not win the World Championship, along with probably say Chris Hero. There's one or two other names you could throw in, but I really thought Claudio was right there towards the top of that list. So he defeated Jonathan Gresham last night with a Ricola bomb at Death Before Dishonor in Massachusetts. So congratulations to Claudio. He definitely deserved it. It's a shame he didn't get a chance to really run that way in WWE, but I'm very happy for him. So that's it. That's what I got for you today, and let's see what happens this week. Going to be interesting with seeing where the Mets go. It's been very concerning losing these first two games to San Diego, but I'm excited for the start of Jets camp, and we'll be watching out for that. All right, you guys have a great day, and we'll talk soon.